Well, let's go to Moscow and speak to Julia Chapman. Julia, has there been any official statement from the Russians? Because we know what the American concerns are, not necessarily that the Kremlin would care to address any American concerns, but at least in terms of supporting Turkey, the purchaser of this system.
Well, from the Russian government, the reaction has been muted. They say that the delivery is going to plan, and they are pleased that this has been a successful purchase and it hasn't been thwarted by threats from the United States. And so I think they're certainly delighted in the Kremlin today by the fact that this has actually gone ahead despite all of those threats from the United States. From the Russian perspective, this is a big victory, not only a big financial boon for the defense industry in Russia, which has been flagging over the last few years, but also as a statement to the rest of the world saying Russia is not isolated. There are still countries that are very interested in purchasing Russian weapons despite threats from other countries, including NATO and the US. So Russians are certainly celebrating this, and I think the Kremlin will be very pleased indeed that this purchase is going ahead and these deliveries are continuing as planned.
Do we know what sort of support Russia will be giving Turkey in terms of operating the S-400s? I mean, apart from the language that may be written on all of this equipment, there's also just the way the machinery operates. Do we know what's been happening so far in terms of transfer of personnel between the two countries and what's going to happen in the future?
Yes, indeed. So in the last couple of months, in May, some 20 Turkish personnel were here in Russia to receive training to use the S-400 missile system. And over the next couple of months, there will be another 80 coming here to Russia for training. It is expected that some Russian experts in this defense system will be sent to Turkey. That hasn't been confirmed by the Russian government yet. But that's partly what the US is so concerned about. They're worried that if Russian personnel are sent to Turkey to provide training to Turkish servicemen in using this defense system, that while they are there, they could receive some intelligence, some information about how the F-35 fighter jet program works, among other NATO defense systems. So that's one of the big concerns from the US. Of course, Russia insists that it is not going to try to find out any information. It says that it's a completely secure system. It can work independently of NATO defense systems, and that NATO and the US have absolutely nothing to worry about. But of course, those are the concerns coming from the US, although we're still waiting, of course, to hear any firm reaction from the American side.
Julia, thank you. Julia Chapman in Moscow.